Welcome to Impact Signals, social impact at the scale of AI. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Sarah.
Saturday, April 4th, 2026. Episode 49. A breaking earthquake test of early warning systems, plus the future of climate tech. We're reporting live on an earthquake that struck Indonesia 2 days ago. Magnitude 7.4 in the Maluku Sea, near Ternate in North Maluku Province. Centered offshore, 78 miles from Ternate, about 22 miles deep.
Indonesia sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Earthquakes are frequent, but this one is important because it tested the early warning system in real time.
What happened?
Within minutes of the quake, Indonesia's BMKG, that's the Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysical Agency, activated InaTEWS, the National Tsunami Early Warning System. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center issued a hazard forecast saying waves were coming. 30-centimeter waves were recorded in North Maluku.
Were there casualties?
At least one death reported, several injured. The damage is still being assessed. BNPB, the National Disaster Management Agency, deployed teams to Manado, Biting, and Ternate to inspect buildings and document damage. They were looking at structural integrity and searching for additional fatalities. The fact that casualties were limited is partly because the earthquake struck offshore. If it had been on land, directly under a city, the outcome would have been very different.
But the tsunami warning system worked.
It worked. The warning was lifted within 2 hours. That rapid, accurate dissemination is the system doing its job, alerting people without causing panic from false alarms. Early warning infrastructure is life-saving infrastructure. When you have 10 minutes to evacuate a coastal community before tsunami waves arrive, those 10 minutes come from a functioning early warning network.
Shifting to longer-term climate trends, J.P. Morgan released a 2026 climate tech industry report in early March. What caught your attention?
The shift from innovation for innovation's sake to what actually scales. Climate tech had a hype cycle, like most emerging technologies. Now, investors are asking harder questions. Does this solve a real problem? Can it scale commercially? Can governments and communities actually deploy it?
What are the trends?
Grid technology. AI systems optimizing electrical grids so they can handle renewable energy integration. Battery materials and chemistry. Mineral extraction for batteries. Financing models that help companies bridge the gap from pilot to commercial deployment.
Why does this matter for disaster response and adaptation?
Because modern emergencies require reliable power. Hospitals, water systems, communication networks, medical equipment, emergency shelters all need electricity. A climate-adapted community is one with resilient energy infrastructure. When grids are optimized with AI and backed by better batteries, they can keep running through climate shocks. That's adaptation technology at scale.
One more trend. ICL Group analyzed climate tech in late 2025 and called 2026 from hype to execution.
Right. They identified that the industry is moving past the conceptual stage. Hydrogen was oversold. It's useful for industrial heat and long-haul shipping, not for replacing all fossil fuels. AI is finding real applications in energy demand forecasting and optimization. And crucially, solutions are becoming regional.
Regional?
Climate adaptation looks different in Indonesia, flood and earthquake risk, versus East Africa, drought and food security, versus small island states. There's no global one-size-fits-all climate solution. The trend is toward localized solutions informed by global research. That's maturity.
One event, the AI+HADR Symposium. That's AI plus humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. Runs April 7th through 9th at AAAI's Spring Symposium in Burlingame, California.
This is significant because it's the first major convening bringing AI researchers and humanitarian practitioners into one room. Researchers present papers on disaster applications. Practitioners show what works in the field and what doesn't. The research gets feedback. The practice gets access to emerging tools.
Who should attend?
Anyone working in emergency management, disaster relief, humanitarian logistics. Also, organizations planning to implement AI over the next 12 to 18 months. Papers will be published after the symposium, so even if you can't attend live, the research will be available.
That's Impact Signals for Saturday, April 4th. If this briefing is useful, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out at impactsignals.ai and share it with someone working in the field.
Stay ready.